My ego's dying. We're live, everybody. Okay, so that's up and running. It's 3 seconds. I asked Ben if it was allowed. I called him on the way here and I was like, is it okay? Can I say that? He's like, I think we'll get away with it. Just do it. So, oh wow, there's people already on YouTube. Hi YouTube. We're not starting till 10, so look it. What did I do? Did I do your?
No, you're different.
Okay. I thought I did your.
Yeah, you did.
How to train your dragon? I don't know. I think it's your. But I did ask Ben, and he is the guy that would be overcautious about it. So I called the one dude that I knew would.
It sounds like fair use.
Yes. Okay, so we got 5 minutes. I'm going to start this.
Wow.
Should be off. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Well, there is blessing.
It's just some damn text, but Budge right again would be a good. I'll join.
Should I do that?
Oh, no, don't switch.
I have it as one thing on YouTube.
Because really it's a shared dragon.
Yes. Yeah. And this one, okay, I'm going to get off on a tangent. I'm going to wait because in a few minutes I'm going to be talking about this anyway. Okay.
Beyond YouTube, but no, it's not here. YouTube is happier. Learning. And then now you're in a bigger audience.
Is that right? This thing, I swear. Oh, wait, maybe I can. Maybe that's what this knob is. Wait, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Hold on. Righty tighty. That's this way, right? Oh, yeah. I think that's better. Oh, yay. Okay. Oh, this thing's been crooked so long. I feel relieved. Okay. How many minutes do I have? Okay.
3 minutes. Plenty.
Different dress.
That's right. I still remember her method.
After you told me that story about that, I won't wear it again. Like I actually gave it away. Yeah, I said, okay, that does that one in. Okay, so,
We're not live on Facebook.
nope, not live on Facebook yet, but live on YouTube. Good morning, YouTube. Hey, everybody. I see we've got some people already in. And what time is it?
The sound is on.
9:58. Good. You can hear me and see me. It's a winning day, everybody. It's a winning day. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Start live video, right? Did I do everything correctly? Yay. Okay. So that's Facebook and YouTube, and I think I've got like 1 more minute, so we're going to let everybody come in. Good morning. There are some folks here. Everybody, remember I said that I'm comfortable with up to 5 people being here on Sunday mornings. So if you want to come in, please reach out to me so that I can make sure we don't go over, or that we also, so that I can tell people, like I get last minute requests. I have a couple of people who've told me, look, on those days where you've got space, we want to come. So just let me know. Good morning. I see Carrie's face. Good morning, Carrie. Normally I don't see faces on Facebook over there. Okay, have I killed enough time? That's what I was doing. Could you tell? Well, I'm really, really glad that you're here this morning. I'm really glad that all of you are here this morning. I am grateful to be in this space. I was talking just a minute ago with Tom, and he said that the men's masterminds had a socially distanced get together on a patio yesterday, and talked about how great that was. And I just think that it's important to encourage us all to be doing that, to get together in small groups. For us to get together as a big group is a little bit much, but we've grown in number, and I just think it's just a little too much. But if we do small groups, we can get together and have that camaraderie and fellowship and support for each other. So I just encourage us to do that. So before we begin, let's take a breath together in through our nose and out. Just bringing all of our presence here to this moment, affirming that we are here on purpose, and that our heart, the love that we are, will guide our thoughts, and we will hear from ourselves exactly what we need. One more breath. Okay, so did y'all like the title? I called Ben and got permission, everybody. I was worried that there would be some kind of issue, but he did give me the okay. So if it's not okay with anybody, I have his contact information for you. Okay, so last week we talked about having tea with our dragon, right? And so this week we're talking about how to train your dragon. I love it so much. Okay, so here's what I discovered last week, right? I'm just going to refresh our memories. So what we realized is that our compulsive behaviors are our dragons. They are not the actual dragon. They are just showing us that a dragon is active and making choices for us. And so what we talked about last week was inviting our dragon to tea, asking our dragon, "Hi, dragon, what are you here to protect me from?" And my dragon that I questioned last week was me checking out. So that's me. I'm watching Netflix, everybody. You see, watching Netflix in my slippers. So that was my dragon, because what I was doing was withdrawing my presence from life. It's not a problem to watch Netflix, but I recognized that I was doing it to withdraw from life. And so I asked my dragon, what are you protecting me from? What's this about? And what I discovered was that my dragon was protecting my frightened child. My frightened inner child was wounded, experienced a great deal of fear. And so there was a dynamic in a relationship, a current relationship, that resembled closely enough that dynamic from my childhood. And so it was activating within me the scared child that didn't know that was over. It's the scared child that I brought with me, the energetic pattern of that scared child that I brought with me. So afterwards, after our how to have tea with your dragon, invite your dragon to tea last week, Bill gave me a recommendation for a book, which I ordered. And that is what I want to talk to you about today. Because, and I think it was Paige. Paige said, "Hey, and you guys, I just have to tell you, I want to affirm for you that everybody is dealing with dragons right now. I cannot believe the amount of calls, emails, texts that I got after last week. So I want us all to just be really gentle with ourselves and to recognize that right now there is a collective energy going on, and it's one in which our dragons are all showing up. And so Paige said, "Hey, I got a lot of dragons. Any books that you got to deal with your dragons?" And Bill recommended Parts Work. So this is what I want to talk about today. I'm going to read a little bit to get started. All right. Oh, and this is Parts Work, and it's by Tom Holmes and Lori Holmes. All right. We are often surprised at how differently we react to various situations. It is almost as if we are a different person at different times. There are many common expressions that describe this experience. I was beside myself. He just pushes my buttons. I wasn't myself. Or we'll say about someone, when he gets into a classroom, he really goes into his head. Or she's really shy, but when she gets on stage, wow. When he's in a negotiating meeting, he turns into a pit bull. We also can react to the same situation in different ways, depending on recent events that have occurred in our mental or physical state. In the Buddhist tradition, these states are called mental formations or habit patterns. And I like to, what I use is an energetic pattern that is always there within us. And the cognitive behaviorists refer to them as schemas. I think I'm saying that right. I should have looked that up, huh? Psychosynthesis refers to them as sub-personalities, and psychodynamic psychologists refer to them as ego states. We will call them parts. Thank you, Tom. I don't want to say those words anymore. Okay, the next illustration represents a Buddhist perspective on the nature of consciousness as presented by Thich Nhat Hanh. This Buddhist model integrates easily with the internal systems perspective of parts work. He uses a circle to represent two important levels of consciousness. The bottom half of the circle represents the store consciousness. So this is the store consciousness down here. In it are stored the seeds that contain all of the potential states of mind that we human beings might have. And here I just did a couple. This is angry. This is critical parent. This is the giver. And this is I can do it, the doer, okay? So in it are stored the seeds that contain all the potential states of mind that we human beings might have. Some of these states of mind seem to occur over and over again in our lives. These regularly occurring states of mind are what we are calling our parts. The top half of the circle represents, it just went away, our everyday consciousness, what Thich Nhat Hanh calls the living room of our consciousness. When the state of mind or part of us comes into the foreground, taking over our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we say it is in the living room. So if I'm angry, angry's up here in my everyday consciousness in my living room. Buddhist psychology points out that when internal and external conditions support it, a particular state of mind will arise. When those conditions no longer support it, it will go back down into store consciousness. In the store consciousness are seeds of all of our parts and potential parts, which have yet to emerge. Some parts are temporarily in storage, waiting for the right time and situation to come up into the living room of our mind. The seeds carry habit energies from our genetic, cultural, and personal history. Carl Jung would see them as having an archetypal basis in past collective experiences. There are hundreds of seeds that could develop if the conditions were right. However, most of us have a primary cast of characters, which could number a dozen or more, a handful of which are the main players in our system. A good way to understand how this works is to apply it to your inner system right now. At this moment, there might be a variety of parts in your mind that are reacting to this book. It is possible that an interested part of you is activated, a part of you that likes to understand and learn new things. If so, a part of you, something like this may be in the living room of your mind right now. And he did a drawing here. And so you might have the interested, picture interested you up here, okay? On the other hand, if you have doubts about what you are hearing here, this book may have activated your skeptic or critic part. It is also possible that these two are able to coexist in your consciousness at this point, and you are interested but cautious. Depending upon which part of you is in the foreground of your mind, in your living room, you will experience your world in very different ways. Each of our parts filters our perceptions in their own way. Each has a particular way of seeing the world, so how you view your life experience varies a lot with which part of you is in the living room. As we have said, a simple but profound concept from the Buddhist model is that when internal and external conditions are right, a given state of mind, a part, will rise up into the living room of your mind, into everyday consciousness. And when those conditions change, that part will go back down into storage. This is why we seem to be such different people at different times. The living room of the mind is quite active, with various parts of ourselves that come and go, interacting with each other and the outer world to help us cope with the tasks of everyday life. Some of these parts stay longer than others, and some will not leave the living room when it is time for them to go. These are thoughts you can't get out of your mind, or feelings you can't shake even when you desperately want them to leave. And that's where I'm going to stop there. So here's what I want to tell you. What I realized as we were talking last week, right? I talked about giving my dragon hemlock. I would put hemlock in the tea, right? Because I was going to slay the dragon. And really, this is a question of mixed metaphors. I just want to tell everybody. Because in Gary Zukav's book, I just have to tell you that. In Gary Zukav's book, what he says is the compulsive behaviors, the addictive behaviors, that is the dragon that you must slay. He is referencing The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell, who says that you must slay your dragon. You are the hero of your story, and you got to go slay your dragon. And so I was mixing these things up, and I said, okay, I got to slay my dragon, right? So I had tea with the dragon, but really it was my plan to kill it. Do you understand? That's where the hemlock came in. And then I realized as we were talking and our conversation afterwards, I don't want to kill my dragon. And the guys, I have to tell you, this is what happened. I was working on the talk for last week, and I got to the point where, I was working on really me, and it happened to be the talk. But I said, dragon, what are you protecting me from? And when the dragon told me, I realized I didn't want to kill the dragon. I was like, I kind of want the dragon to stay. And what we talked about last week afterwards was, I realized is, yes, the dragon is on purpose, right? Okay, so these parts of our personality here, right, are these all different states of being or states of consciousness. They all have good intentions. They all have good intentions, okay? So, and I want to point out this part here. This is what Thich Nhat Hanh calls the self, capital S. We in Unity would call that our Christ nature. And so in order to train our dragons, okay, follow me? In order to train our dragons, what we have to do is view them through our Christ nature. Talk to them through our Christ nature. Sometimes what happens is anger goes up. Let's say anger's in the living room, right? You say something about my dress, and I get angry at you, right? So anger has come up here. I totally missed it because I was thinking about my dress, y'all. So anger comes up here into consciousness. Now, okay, I lost that. We're going to go off the dress metaphor, everybody. So Christ nature, oh yes. So my Christ nature would then ask anger, what are you trying to protect me from? And what I might find underneath that is my vulnerable child, the part of me that feels exposed out there in the open. And so we have many parts, and some of them are protective parts, and some of them are helper parts, different things, different kind of groups of parts. And our protector parts are usually protecting some frightened part of our personality. So some are, are frightened inner child, something like that. And so to train these dragons, we have to sit in the seat of our Christ nature, and that has some qualities. Our Christ nature has some qualities, right? It is open. It is non-judgmental. It is loving. It is a space in which there is love and acceptance. So rather than trying to slay these dragons, our Christ nature says, hey, you're here on purpose. Thank you for being here. Tell me why. And in doing that, we transform these dragons into their real purpose. And all of them have it. So let me give you an example. So here is my rebellious self. You like my picture? This is my rebellious self, right? Now, when it's turned up too high, it looks like this. Arms crossed, not going to do it, no way. Absolutely not. Can you feel that? And when the volume is right, when I ask it what it's there to protect me for, it calms down and it becomes what it should be, which is my independent woman self. Can you feel that? Here's another one. My anger, my angry self, right? Here's my angry self. And when I question it, it becomes the part of me that creates good boundaries. So can you feel that these dragons, we don't want to get rid of them. They're here for a purpose. I'm going to give you a couple more examples. So there is my multitasker. So when my multitasker is at a healthy level, it looks like this. And when my multitasker is not, it looks like this. Can you feel that? Because what I figured out yesterday is in reading this parts book is, remember how we talk about our weaknesses are really our strengths, turned up a little too high or down a little too low? And that's what I realized. I realized that the doer is healthy, right? At its healthy level, the doer is important. It allows me to do multiple things because I am at a time in my life in which there are multiple things that need to get done, right? But if it's turned up too high, that doer can become a controller. Can you feel that? If it's turned up too high, it becomes a controller. If it's turned down too low, it's back to Lydia watching Netflix. Picture that. Can you feel that? So it's the knob adjustment again. So here is the manager. This is the part that gets things done. This is the part that makes lists and makes things happen and looks over spreadsheets. I love it. See that? See her? Now, if she's turned up too high, she looks like this. And she's yelling at me about all the things that I need to get done and why aren't I getting them done faster and this needs to be done and this needs to be done. And she's yelling, yelling, yelling. Can you feel that? So when that part comes up, when these parts come up, they are there for us to say, hey, okay, I got to get into my Christ self, my centered self, and ask, what are you here to help me with? What's your purpose? Why are you here? So I'm going to give you some others that I came up with. I mean, I had a huge list of qualities. So I put here, entertainer, the entertainer in me. Turned up too high is a drama queen. Turned down too low is a mouse, shy, won't let my light shine, right? Can you feel that? The giver in me, turned up too high, I give myself away. Turned down too low, and I'm selfish, and I hoard. Can you feel it? It's knob adjustment, everybody, knob adjustment. Now, I just want everybody to know that I took a left from Thich Nhat Hanh here, okay? So I am telling you something, a new awareness that I've had. So I want to make sure that I don't upset Tom Holmes. But I feel like if we had a conversation, he would like this theory. Okay, so playful child, right? My playful child, down to or up too high, impulsive. Down too low, boredom. Is that what I put? Yep, boredom. Beauty, the beauty queen. Up too high, egotist or egoist. Is that right? Egoist. You guys get the point. Down too low, slob. You feel it? Adventurer, the adventurer in me. Up too high, impulsive again. Down too low, rigid. Stuck in my comfort zone, unwilling to try new things. Independent person, independent woman. Up too high, rebellious teenager. Down too low, don't know how to ask for help. Right? Self-improver. Up too high, nagger. The nagging part of your personality. Patient lady. Down too low or up too high. Non-self advocator, so it doesn't advocate for self. So all of these qualities, all of these things, they are here for a purpose. So if we can understand that in this moment, and I was talking earlier to Tom about this, I didn't know which thing I was going to talk about today. I had kind of two things in my mind, and apparently they're marrying each other right now. And what we were talking about is this concept of existential boredom. And it's important to note that existential boredom, it can be a quality in depression, but we're not talking about depression here. We're talking about this sense that nothing has meaning or purpose. And right now, I believe that because we've had a lot of our distractions taken away from us, a lot of our doing, the things that we could go do, we are experiencing this existential boredom. We're like, what's the point? Why are we here? the things that I did yesterday, I'm not doing them today. So what's the purpose of life? And I believe that what is happening in this time, in this space, is these dragons are starting to come up. And so yesterday, because I just got the book, so I read it all yesterday, and as I went about the day, I became aware of which of these were coming into the living room. It's important to understand too that there can be multiple things in the living room at any given time. It doesn't need to be just one thing. But sometimes if anger gets too loud, it'll crowd out everything else, and it's taking up way too much space in the living room. So yesterday, as I went about my day, I started to pay attention, and I would notice, when my children called Mom, and I'd say, yes, honey, and I went, oh, there's my nurturing aspect. There it is. Up too high, I completely enable my children. And I do everything for them and don't have any expectations of them. Down too low, it's neglect, right? So we have all these pieces. So if you become aware at any given moment of these states of mind that come up, and remember who you truly are. Can I go backwards? No. Who you truly are, sorry, got a lot of them, is here. It's this Christ nature. That is your true identity, my true identity. It is my eternal identity. It is the one that isn't changing. It is the constant, right? But we are here on purpose. We're here for a reason. We're human for a reason. And that's what I put. I put my spiritual practitioner, and then I said up too high, not human. Unwilling to have human experience. Down too low. What did I say about down too low? I lost you. Pointless wanderer. Right? So what we are doing now, we have a lot of time on our hands right now, some of us. We're in our living rooms, literally and figuratively. And it is during this time that we can begin to become aware of these roles, these parts of us that come up, and notice the knob level and stop judging them, because we can have this awareness that they're here for a reason. They all have good intentions and they all have purpose. So we don't have to slay them. We don't have to give them hemlock tea. We can let them stay. In fact, we should let them stay because they are our helpers. And so instead of rejecting my angry self, right, which is, definitely one that I have a tendency to reject. I even noticed with my kids that I would use the word frustrated. I would say, I know you're frustrated. And my child would be screaming and throwing something, right? And I realized it's because I didn't want to acknowledge anger. Because as a child, there was a very angry atmosphere. And so I'm super hypersensitive to it, right? So I don't want anger and I don't want it to be there. I don't even want to acknowledge that I have that part of myself. And here's the reality. That anger is my helper, right? The anger is the part of me that creates healthy boundaries, that says I need to take care of myself and do for myself first so that I can show up in the world. It says, no, I'm here and you're there. This is where I start and you stop. Those are things that we must do as humans. And it's difficult because we recognize that in truth, in our Christ nature, we are all one. There is oneness. And so we'd say, well, why do we need boundaries then, right? We're all one. Well, guess what? I tried that little experiment. It didn't go well. I realized that there is purpose to being a human. And part of that requires good boundaries. And that love doesn't always say yes, right? And so we can begin to become aware of these parts of us. And we can say, hi, what are you here to do? I can tell you, see this gal right here? One of the things I noticed as I was, because what he suggested was to make a list, which is what I did, of all the parts. And then I realized as I was making the list that it was a knob adjustment situation. And that if I turned it up high, it was this, and I turned it down low, it was that. And that the right balance was the perfect experience, right? So I'm writing all this list down. And when I saw this gal, I looked her up. I looked for a picture of that. And I saw her. And I realized that I use her. I will look like her to keep you over here. I know. Sometimes I am busy so that I don't have to interact. So that I can go, oh, my light's off, my door is closed. Busy, busy, busy. And I do that at home a lot. And so I recognized, I said, hey, what are you here to protect me from? I sat with it. And I realized that it was about not being a perfect mother, right? I didn't want to experience that I was a flawed mom. So I'm in a hurry. Doing, right? This kind of honesty with ourselves is what is required to tone those things down, to train your dragon. And all it takes is our willingness to sit in the seat of ourself, in the seat of our Christ nature, in non-judgment and openness, questioning. Hi, thanks for being here. What are you here to do? So keep that in mind. Knob adjustment, everybody. Knob levels, right? Just notice. Because we're not trying to kill them, which is what I mistakenly thought last week and have learned now that I am going to integrate them, going to question them, love them, accept them, make them welcome, non-judgment. Okay, let's pray together. So I invite you just to close your eyes or relax your gaze and just notice your breath. Breathe in and out. In this moment, we are allowing our Christ nature, our perfect self, our self, capital S, to rise up to the surface. We feel the qualities of this self, the openness, the love, acceptance. And in this moment, if you have one of your parts coming into the living room of your mind, just notice. Smile at them. Bring your awareness back to your breath. We recognize that we are here on this planet at this time for a purpose. And we invite and allow all of the parts of ourselves that are here to be of help and assistance in that purpose. We invite them, we welcome them. We are grateful for them. We embrace the power of our presence. We embrace the purpose of our existence. We move forward with love, wisdom, truth, guiding everything that we think and say and do. Thy will be done. One more breath. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. So the daily word, of course, fits perfectly with the How to Train Your Dragon metaphor. This morning, this is the daily word. It is a Unity Worldwide publication. You can find it at dailyword.com. It's a daily devotional. It gives a short devotion and an affirmation that you can use throughout the day. And so I invite us all to use this affirmation throughout today. The word is protected. And the affirmation is, I shine my light and feel protected. Feelings of fear that creep into my life may conjure childhood memories of scary nighttime images and noises. As a child, I may have felt afraid of the dark or startled by an unfamiliar sound, but the morning sun always dispelled the darkness, and I realized there was never anything to fear. I keep that knowledge alive as I let the divine presence within dissolve the darkness of fear and shine the light of comfort and safety. Now, when any darkness descends in my life, I remember the protecting love, presence, and power of God expressing as me. As I attune more fully to my divine nature, light dawns within my consciousness, and I realize that God's protection is always mine. And the verse is Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? And I'll say the affirmation one more time. I shine my light and feel protected. And that's what we were talking about. That was, sitting in the seat of our Christ nature is shining the light of consciousness on these parts of our personality, allowing them to be healed and brought to the right knob level adjustment. All righty, everybody. Now our vision, a world powerfully transformed through shared spiritual awakening. And our mission, advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. And our values, abundance, acceptance, community, diversity, integrity, joy, and love. And we celebrate our kiddos with this affirmation. Unity of Appleton sees the divinity in all children and nurtures their unfolding spirituality. And our moment of gratitude. So what we realize is that joyful people are grateful people. Peeper, did you hear that? They are grateful people. And so we recognize that we can practice the energy of gratitude, just like we have all of these parts within us, these energetic patterns within us. Gratitude, our grateful self, is one of those. And those seeds that we have in the storehouse, that are all in the storehouse of our mind, we are watering them all the time by giving them attention and focus. And so we want to be intentional about watering those seeds that are the truth of our divine nature. And so in this moment, we are watering the seed we call gratitude. And so I invite you to bring to mind a person, a situation, something for which you feel thankful. Breathe in. Smile. And in your mind, say, thank you. Thank you. And there it is. We tapped into that energy of gratitude, ensuring that we are watering that seed and that it is growing larger in our consciousness. And so it's time to tell you thank you so much for all of your gratitude offerings, your gifts that you are continuing to send in, the checks in the mail, the PayPal donations. Thank you so, so much. This is ensuring that we are going to not only are we surviving during this time, we are really thriving during this time. And I cannot wait until we are all once again together in this room. So thank you for ensuring that that's going to happen, everybody. So affirmation of prosperity, we'll say it together. Unity of Appleton is alive with the energy of spirit and the flow of divine abundance, and radiant with unlimited possibilities. And our celebration of giving and receiving divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I joyfully give and willingly receive. I give in love, and I trust God as my source. Okay, 10:35. So let's say 10:40. We always say 10:40. Let's just go with 10:40. Everybody, I'll waste time if it takes you a couple more minutes to grab your coffee and meet us for the chat. If you are not a member, you can still join us on YouTube. You just won't be able to type in the chat. But remember, everybody, it's on Unity of Appleton members only page. But please, if you are not a member, please come join us via YouTube. You'll still be able to hear all of the amazing comments that happen as I read them out. Okay, so prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Okay, I'll see you in 5 minutes with our coffee, everybody. See you in 5 minutes. Finish. See you in 5 minutes, everybody. In stream. I think